Hello, my name is Michael Timmons. I am the author of the Lekenmore Saga and the Shards of the Coven series, and I'm also the organizer for the Writer's Block Book Fair here in Toledo, Ohio. Today, I would love to speak to you about the 7 things that I feel that you should do to make the most out of your book signings. Now, the first thing I would suggest is what I call signage and social media. Now, these are things that you should take care of before your event and have ready to go. So, first thing, signage. You could be a variety of different things. You could have a big banner like I do in the back. You could have also the poster board signage that I have here that has your name, some pictures of your books, and perhaps maybe even the genre that you are, like fantasy writer or romance writer, or any type of awards that you might have, like if you're a bestseller or Amazon bestseller or New York Times bestseller, have those information on those boards, that signage, so when people are passing by, just as they look at your booth or your table, and they may not have been there for your signing in particular, but they will see what you have to offer, and that will draw them to your table. And that's how to make the most of just the generalized traffic of whichever venue you're at. If you're at a bookstore or a fair or whatever, people who may not have been there for the sole purpose of buying your and getting your signage, book signing from you, may come over and do so anyways. Social media is something you should also take care of prior to your event. If you have a good ground game, meaning do you have a newsletter, do you have a Facebook page, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, whatever social media platform or platforms that you use, you want to get the word out to what you're going to be doing and where. So I recommend at least a month prior to the event, start dropping hints and information about the event and that you're going to be there. And then as the closer you get to the actual event, start ramping it up. Start really getting out there with information. Maybe do a Facebook event page. I have found that those really draw attention to them. Plus, you can also boost that. You could do a boost the event on Facebook. It may cost $10, whatever, but it will start popping up on people's Facebook feeds that may be interested in your event, and that way when they sign up, say that they're going or that they're interested, they will get notifications the closer they get to the event, something that you won't have to worry about. Facebook will take care of it for you, and that's a huge help because you're juggling a lot of stuff prior to your event. Last thing you need to do is have to worry about reminding people that your event is going on. But just post often and post early. It's always what you do with social media. The next thing that I think you should do, number 2, is what I call presentation of your books. Presentation is very important. If you just have your books flat out on your table and not visible as people pass by, you're not helping yourself out. So what you need to do is make sure people can see your books. So buy book stands, make book stands, whatever you need to do, get those books propped up so people can see the covers and will be drawn to your books. What I also find that's very helpful is if you have the room on your table, have the book standing up vertically, but also have an additional book of the same kind next to it, upside, with the back showing, so people can grab that and they can read the back, or they can stand there and they can read what the book is about. If you have a very busy table, it might be best to have that available, because while you're dealing with one potential customer, another customer can come up, they can look at the signs, the books there, and they can read about your book, and you don't have to try to engage 2 people at the same time. Step 3, be prepared for your book signings. What I mean by this is that you are going to be signing people's books. So you don't want to have a pen that you lose or that runs out of ink while you're trying to do book signings. Last thing you want to do is look unprofessional by trying to sign someone's book and suddenly your pen dies and now you don't have a pen to sign books. So make sure you have plenty of pens. Make sure, or markers, depending on what how you sign your books. But but you want to have those available and ready in case you have a mishap, or if somebody takes a pen of yours, or you lose a pen, whatever. You don't want to run out of pens, is what I'm saying. That's the last thing you want to do. Another thing that's also really helpful to have is post-its. And what I was saying why you would want to have those is because sometimes people want to have you sign the book for someone. And these days and age, people have all manner of how they want to spell their names. So it's best to have a post-it, give it to them, let them write down the name and how it's spelled. And that way you're not having to ask them or just trying to guess. And you'll have the actual spelling for the name of the book, or for the name of the person that you're writing the book for. And that way there won't be any mistakes and they'll be happy with the book signing itself. Step 4, selling yourself. Now, I know this is very difficult to do. A lot of writers are introverts, and they have a difficult time engaging with their audience, engaging with people who are looking at their booths for the book signing. But this is a must. Either practice how to talk to people and learn how to sell yourself, because you want to not only sell your books, but you want to sell yourself as the author of those books. So if you are not engaging, if you are someone that kind of standoffish, people, unless they really, really are interested in your book, unless you're a new author and they don't have any idea what your book's about, this is very important. So to get them to engage with you, talk with you, you can almost always use that to talk someone into buying your book. So one thing to also remember is how you present yourself. I, for one, at my book signings, I am always 98% of the time I am standing. I am standing there, and everybody that passes by my table, I say hi to, unless I'm engaged with an actual person there that I'm signing the book for. But while I'm standing there waiting for people to approach me, or as they're passing by, I say, hello, how you doing? How you doing? Hello, how you doing? I'm always talking to them, always trying to engage them, just to get them to look. I just want them to meet my eyes and look at what I have to sell. Because a lot of people, when they're passing by, they're on their way to get something else, they're on their way to do something else. But if you draw their attention to your table, you've already won the first step. You've already got them there to be interested in what you have, and then they'll draw over. Another thing I find very helpful to do in this situation, a lot of times you'll get people who will look and they'll keep walking because they have somewhere to be, or they have their intention is not to stop for anything, but they'll look and their eyes will drag on what you are looking at, have to offer at the table, but they're still walking. Invite them over. Say, hey, come take a look. Hey, let me tell you what my book is about, because you look like you're interested. Get them to be engaged. Another thing to do, I see a lot of people who will spend a lot of time on their phones while they're at these book signings or book fairs or book events, whatever. And they'll sit there and they'll just be looking at their phone and whatever, and they will not engage with the people that are passing by. You're not going to sell books that way. That is not the way you want to present yourself. You also want to hold yourself as accessible. What I mean by that is you don't want to be sitting there with your arms crossed with a look of annoyance or boredom on your face. You want to have your arms down. You can even have your thumbs in your pockets, or in some way to keep your arms there. You want to look like you could be approached. This goes for all manner of selling. So you want to present yourself as someone that those people would like to engage with, would like to talk with. Number 5, pricing. It doesn't necessarily matter what you price your books at. You could have, $5 books. You could have $25 books. That's not really what matters. If somebody's interested in buying a book, chances are they're not going to worry too much about the pricing, unless you have like a real thin book that you're trying to sell for $25, or unless you're what you're offering is disproportionate to what you're charging. One thing you can do, and I find excessively better to do in these events, is make sure your prices are even. What I mean by that is skip the change. If you want to have your book, you sell your book normally for $15.99 or $14.99, sell it for $15. If it's $18.99, sell it for $18, or maybe bump it up to $20, or bump it down to $16. It doesn't really matter, but you want to eliminate the change. Now, not only does that benefit you, but it benefits the person who's going to buy your book, because that way you don't have to carry a bunch of change around in your pocket, or your cash bag, or whatever you have your money in, and then they don't have to worry about coming up with the exact amount of change. I know some people worry, like, well, I need to charge tax for that. Factor the tax into the actual cost. So if, like I said, if your book is $17.99 plus tax, make it $19, or make it $18, whatever, and then just eat the difference in tax as part of the cost for selling your books. If you have multiple books that you're offering, make book bundle deals. So, like for me, I have The Awakening Part 1, The Awakening Part 2, and The Gathering. So it's essentially book 1, book 2 of the Like and War saga. The first part is the book is split into 2 parts, and then there's book 2. I sell the first book at a certain cost, and then if you buy part 1, part 2, that is a different price. It's basically what the 2 books would cost together minus $2. And then if you get the third book, it's what the 3 books would cost together minus $5. So basically encourage them to buy all your books, and that way you sell more books, you sell them on the idea that they're getting a deal, which also helps you sell more books, and then plus they're going to read all your books, and so the next time you release another book, they're going to want to get it, and then you're going to sell books more in the future. Number 6, swag. Swag is the important thing. You want to have things like bookmarks, like I have here. I have a bookmark that has covers of my books. You can do a variety of different things, but as you can see here, I have the bottom of this one. I have a QR code that I use so people can scan that, and then it will immediately be taken to my Amazon page, or you can have it as your Facebook page, or your website, your author website, depending on where you want to send them to. So bookmarks are an essential. You need to have bookmarks. People love bookmarks. They appreciate getting bookmarks, and you can use them as a marketing tool to send people, like I do, to your Amazon page. So when they're done with the book that they bought, they can go to your future books or get your backlog, whichever way they want to do. But that way you can get them to look in future books. I've seen a variety of different types of swag. I've seen people who, they offer candy, or they also offer buttons or stickers. It doesn't really matter what other swag you offer. People enjoy getting that as a bonus to getting your books. It won't necessarily help you sell the books that you're trying to sell, because I wouldn't use that as like a buying incentive, like, hey, if you get my book today, you get a free bookmark. That's not how that's going to work. But when you give them swag on top of when they've already purchased the book, they're going to remember you more. That's going to stick in their mind. They're going to be like, hey, that's right, I got that bookmark from that guy. Or if they, if in their other books, if this is the only bookmark that they have, that they've got, they're going to put it in their other books that they read, and they're always going to see this. They're like, oh, that's right, I wonder if that new book is from that author is coming out, and they'll go and they'll check. So it's very helpful for you to not only give that out when you're doing book signings, because it's going to help you with future sales, which leads us to number 7, which is future sales. Two things that I think you should have, well, three things. I've already mentioned the bookmark. That's also very helpful with future sales. But another thing that will really help with future sales, and the two things that I think that you should include at every book signing you have, are business cards that have your name, your website, your Amazon page, whatever else you have on there, and have a sheet for newsletter signups. This is a great place to get people to sign up for your newsletter. That is, of course, if you actually bother with the newsletter. They're very helpful for you to engage with your audience and your book readers at a regular basis. It is something that you want to do pretty regularly. I know I'm pretty horrible at this. I don't do them with the amount of regularity as I should. I'm trying to get better with that, but it's something that is helpful to fuel future sales, because then you can let them know when every new book is coming out. You can let them know what's going on with your writing and where you're at, and that's helpful to engage with your audience in that manner. Really makes it personable and makes them more interested that when the next book comes out, they're anticipatory, they're excited about it, and they're right there when you do your next book release. So those are the 7 things I think you should do to maximize your book signing event. That will really help make the most of it and help you increase your sales at every book signing that you do. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, and also hit the notification bell down below. That way you can be notified when I do future videos. I'm planning on doing a whole series on book fairs and book signings. I'm also going to do some videos about my books that I have written, about my writing experience, about self-publishing, and just a variety of other things that pop into my head of what I want to do. If you would like to leave a comment down below on any particular subject that you would like me to do future videos on, or if you have any questions, please comment down below. I would love to talk with you and find out what you would like to hear about in my future videos to help you make the most of your journey as an author. So have a good day.